Hey, what's up, guys? Scavenger Reviews here. How do you even start a video like this? Well, alright, I'll start, at the beginning. So it all started when my no. Anyway, so my Aunt Jeannie, right, she took me on a trip to the zoo once, and it was a pretty cool zoo, and I saw all the cool animals and stuff like that. And then I saw something I never saw before, and my brain could not process it. I was maybe, I'd have to have been, let's see, it was before 2013, so I'd have to have been like 10, maybe? Sounds about right, yeah. I had to have been like 10 years old, and I, for the first time in my life, with absolutely no point of reference, saw an emu. Now, I know what an ostrich, at the time, I knew what an ostrich was, but then you give me this small, slightly, still huge bird, but like slightly smaller than an ostrich. You give me this small ostrich that looks completely different and is not an ostrich, and it's just wrong, as a child, I just couldn't comprehend that. And this is gonna sound so, lame, I guess. I don't know, I was like 10 years old, could be some slack. But anyways, I just hated it. I did not understand it, I didn't like it. And I just stared at it as hard as I could. Like a Sith, trying to project all of my hatred and negative thoughts and emotions onto this poor bird. Which I don't think animals really perceive human emotion in the way we do. Now I'm sure they do perceive it a little bit, but I don't think if I give my cat some dirty looks, I don't think she's gonna be like, Kurt Cobain in herself tonight. Let's try it. Alright, so this is my cat Meow Meow. She's in a lot of my videos. But if you're watching for the first time, this is my cat Meow Meow. And I can't even say it. I hate you. You awful creature. I can't say it. I'm so sorry. You awful creature. Okay, fine. She don't want to be held right now. She was chilling. She's like, I was laying down, and now you just get in my face, Anyways, but I don't think animals really perceive human emotion the way we do, But anyways, I was just standing there, glaring at it, literally staring directly into its eye, because I have eyes on the side of the head, so I was always doing this, And I don't know. And from that moment on, 10 to whatever, I just hated emus, And then I found out about the Great Emu War, of Australia. And I was like, those fuckers, those rapscallion hooligans taking actual threats so not serious or whatever. I don't know. Actually, I was laughing about it, but just kind of playing it up. But I was terrified of their feet, dude. So how a emu foot looks is like this, actually like this. Yeah, they have two little toes. Come on, Spider. There we go. Two little toes, and then one big ass fuck off long toe that is sharp on the end, and they use for kicking. Apparently, that's terrifying. Could you imagine a fucking how tall are they? About 5 foot? Could you imagine a 6 foot bird that looks like grass running up behind you and just fucking kicking you in the back of the dome, bro? You'd be dead right there, Fucking KIA, For real. What shoes you got on? That emu got your shoes now, You ain't got no shoes. Anyways, though. Back to the story. And I looked at it for a long time. My cousins were there, and while they were looking at other exhibits, I just stood there for like I'm not kidding. I think like a solid 5 to 10 minutes. Maybe not 10 minutes, but definitely five. Definitely five. I stood there for like a solid 10 minutes, just burning my eyes into this poor emu. That was just like chilling, and even I remember thinking this as a kid. Hating this creature. I was like, this is a small enclosure. I wish it could walk around a little bit more. It was not a bad size, but it was like about the size of my living room only. Like that's a pretty small enclosure. So like I don't know. Hopefully, that was just like where it chilled during like viewing hours or whatever, and then they let it like into the pen or whatever to run around. Frolic. Because okay, so there was that. Those three experiences, the meeting the emu for the first time, and like I said, my brain just could not understand it. And now that I think about it, I think I truly understand how my grandfather felt when he first saw a black guy. Just not understanding it and just feeling nothing but hatred. you know? But I don't know, man. And anyways, so there was that, and then the emu war, and then the foot thing that I found out about. However, this story has a happy ending. And it wasn't fear, to be clear. Like, and I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, you're just scared of it. Maybe you had a phobia or whatever." No, I was not scared. I was ready, as a 10-year-old boy. I was ready to get in there and fucking like Undertaker that shit, and fucking, cease bird. Not really, but Anyways, oh yeah, so I don't have like a phobia or anything, cause like ostriches didn't scare me. I had seen ostriches. This was just like, hold on now. You're telling me there's this random bird that looks like an ostrich, but it ain't an ostrich? You're telling me this on the day of my daughter's wedding? I think that's what it was. I think that's probably why I was so, like, mad. Because I was like, this isn't real. That motherfucker! That guy over there is not real! That was me. That was me. I was that plane lady. Because, like, I knew what a polar bear was. Well, they didn't have polar bears there. But, I knew what, like, what do they have there? Like, foxes and shit. I knew what a fox was. I knew what, like, the types of bird they have. Like parrots and shit like that were. But you're giving me this fucking alien creature that I had no point of reference. I had never seen an emu to that point. That's, again, Grandpa. Me and him are... Anyways, no, not really. Well, I mean, yes, really for him. But anyways, I had a experience where I went to, it was kind of weird, because, like, as a grown adult, you can still go do stuff like that, like, alone. You don't have to have kids to go to the zoo. You can just go to the zoo anytime you want. And what's weird, as like, a grown-ass man, I think I was, like, 23. So this was, like, 10 years old to 23 years old. So like 13 years that I harbored this hatred for emus. And my grandparents actually ended up taking me to a zoo. And it was a drive-in. It was one of the drive-through zoos. Those are so really cool. And they give you like bowls of food to like feed to the animals. Seriously, try that. Goated experience, pun intended. Even though where I went didn't have goats. It was so cool, man. I got to feed and pet like so many animals. I got to feed an ox. I got to feed zebras, emus. Get into that. Ostriches. Those like weird Brahma cows that are like really ugly and have like saggy flesh, but everybody thinks it's beautiful for some reason. Like I don't really see the appeal, man. You have your ball sack cow. I'm good. And a giraffe. I got licked by a giraffe, dude. Like, so apparently, do not wear glasses when you interact with giraffes. They like to just like take that shit right off your face, and my glasses legitimately almost got swallowed by a giraffe. I had to like not wrestle. I wasn't like manhandling its tongue or anything, but say it was like wrapped like this, like this. I just slid it out from like through its tongue. It was gonna eat my glasses, dude, and my hat. And this was like pre-bald shaved head Tyler, so I was like super self-conscious about being without my hat. And this motherfucker tries to take my hat. Anyways, though, getting to the emus. So, I am a very proud person. I'm not the type to have phobias. I really don't have any like phobias. I have certain things I kind of don't like and I don't really fuck with, but I don't really have phobias. So I was like, I'm a grown man. I'm gonna take care of this and I'm gonna handle this on my own. And you know what? I fed an emu, and it was so nice, y'all. It was such a nice emu. I mean, this creature, it's like about 5 foot tall, so doesn't quite come up to me, I'm about like a cool like 8'6", so it comes up, but no. But anyways, like it comes up to me, and again, it looks like grass, like palm, like fronds, and its neck is like prickly and hairy and stuff like that, and it's got eyes the size of fucking ping pong balls, and these are all the recipes again for like some alien creature. And it was the nicest shit ever, bro. This emu should be like the representative of the emu race. Like, of the animal council, I would elect that particular emu 2025. Because it was awesome. It came up, and it was both friendly and respectful at the same time. Like, it was a little, docile, but docile is not the word. Like, apprehensive to approach. It like kind of came up within like 6 foot of me, and then was like kind of, looking at me like that, like waiting for my reaction. And then I, with body language, I guess, just was like, come on, you can come over here. And I had my food over, and that's why it actually came over. He just wanted me for my shorts. But, and I fed the emu, and it was like really, really nice. And I like emus now. Like, I see them as cute animals, whenever I see like videos of them and stuff like that, like when they're at zoos, I see them as cute animals. I completely 180'd from absolutely abhorrently wishing death and plagues onto these poor innocent creatures to saying like, "Oh, look at the little guy," whenever I see videos of them. They're really not bad. I mean, I'm sure that like in the wild, do not approach emus in the wild. Don't approach like hardly any animal in the wild. Like just be safe. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Do not take my advice. Do not go walk up to a emu and be like, "Hey, you're my best friend now." No, you want to get. They look like emus, but they have colorful faces and little crests on their head. Those are the really friendly ones. You want to go up to those guys. Actually, I haven't actually interacted with a cassowary. I wonder what that would be like. Do they have like, because they're so territorial. That's like the only thing I know about them. So like, do they have cassowaries at the zoo? Like maybe ones that you can like look at, but probably not interact with. Anyways, I'm kind of droning on. I just wanted to get on here and talk to you guys about like a personal story of mine, and don't hate things. Don't see something unfamiliar and be filled with fear and hatred. That's a very wrong approach, and that's not how I look at the world anymore. That's how I used to, but I've matured since then. Obviously, like I said, I think I was around 10 years old. I've matured since then, and greet the world with open arms. Don't be scared. Be cautious. Don't walk up to the tiger that you think is friendly, but like, be cautious, but don't be scared. Anyways, I've been Scavenger Reviews. Catch me on the next one. Yeah. I'm doing all my Tremors videos, and I really want you guys to see that. I really want to share that with you. Peace.